Nisekoi False Love. I recently finished this rather long series, so let's talk about it. Now, before we go, of course, we're going to be going over the whole series, so there will be spoilers here. But without further ado, let's get into why Nisekoi is kind of in the middle of the road. Starting off with the positives, I would like to say that Nisekoi's premise is phenomenal. A Yakuza and a gang from America that hate each other, but are being kept from war because the two heirs of their respective groups are dating, is amazing. I think it's super unique and leads to a lot of funny moments in the series with the gangs. And while we're on the topic of the setting, I like to mention that the world is so silly and unrealistic that it fits really well. Things such as Tsugumi being able to break down a concrete pillar with her fist, or Honda doing everything that she does. Or how seemingly every character except Onodera has such a huge family that's just loaded. It's insane and I honestly love it. Another thing that's extremely fun about this series is the comedy. I feel that the comedy is extremely varied, from Mari's attempts to win over Raku to Ruri always beating the daylights out of Shu. It's just extremely fun. I don't think there are that many jokes that fall flat in this series, and I believe the majority of them hit the mark, although some obviously do not. But even still, the comedy is a huge plus for the series, and one of the reasons I like it a lot. Another thing I thought I should add here is that the art is rather good. I think the art conveys motion rather well, and it just has that really rough, sketchy feeling that I love seeing in manga, so the art's really solid. And one final thing I really enjoy about the series is the characters. From Raku just being an all-around fun guy to follow, to Mari's attempts to win over Raku, or Onodera's slow approach to things, or even Shu's brilliance. I think every character is memorable and has a great place in the story. Sure, I would prefer if Kosaki was more enjoyable or some characters got some more development, but I think all the characters turned out well enough, and it kept me captivated the entire time I was reading. Now that we've gone through what I've really enjoyed in the series, we must unfortunately go over what wasn't so good. So let's start with my biggest pet peeve, the ending. I feel like the ending was sort of artificially sped up and just felt kind of off to me. Characters like Tsugumi and Haru got their arcs resolved far too quickly for my liking. Mari showed up at the end just to get rejected again, and for what? I actually kind of disliked that the events of the present mirrored the events of the past, as I thought it was kind of silly. I thought Kosaki winning was actually the worst outcome, and the one I wanted least, along with it being extremely predictable. And to top it all off, Onodera gets shafted in the end and gets nothing. I don't know. I didn't necessarily love the ending and felt like it just could have been more. The ending is what I would like to call staying on what is, for the most part, an extremely fun series, and I wish I could have enjoyed it a lot more. Another issue I find with this series is how it feels artificially dragged along. In the opening of this video, I said that Nisekoi feels long, and it does. I can't even count the amount of times Onodera fails to confess to Raku, and vice versa. I feel like the series could have been definitely much better and much shorter if they just cut out all the fluff, and I would most likely hold it in a much higher regard. This is something that a series like Rent-A-Girlfriend suffers from, but then Quintessential Quintuplets does not, and I think you guys might already know which one I like more. And one thing that I just hate about this manga that I just had to mention is the Amnesia Arc. The Amnesia Arc is absolutely dreadful, and I hate it immensely. Chitoge changing eye colors as she grows up, I think, is extremely silly. The whole fact that everyone even let him go to her house, the fact that they just didn't say that he had amnesia, I think it's not good at all. It's easily one of the worst arcs I've read in a long time, and I just cannot stand this arc one bit. It's that bad. But before we end things off, Mari! I love Mari. She is by far the most fun and interesting character, and I was glued to the pages every time she was there. She's no Mugi, she's no Iris, she's no Miku, she's Mari, and I love her. She's the best thing the series has to offer, and dang it, she should have won. She deserved it, but she lost. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video on Nisekoi, and come back next week when I'll be ranking my favorite girls from this series, and you won't believe who gets last place.